Yo, what's up, guys? Yo, today I just watched the Dragon Ball Super Broly movie. Let me just say one thing. It was freaking awesome, I can't lie. I thoroughly enjoyed the movie. So, yeah, if you're a fan of fighting and action, then I would say it's for you because half of the film is just the fight. That was pretty dope, I won't lie. So, it's quite interesting this film because this film is canon. And like it or not, we're gonna get an anime adaptation of this. It's gonna be like Battle of Gods all over again. It's just gonna stretch it out, I guess. Unless they could make it better. They could make it better, but I doubt Toei Animation are gonna try and make it better. I just think they're gonna try to stretch it out when it comes out. But this let's call it an arc. This Broly arc was pretty good, I thought. So we start from the beginning, right? So Broly has a brand new backstory. Oh, let's put a spoiler tag on this. I'll make sure I'll put a spoiler tag on it. So I can't believe I'm so glad that they removed Broly's they changed his origin story because his first one was ridiculous. He has the most his purpose in life was so ridiculous. So Broly's original backstory was when he was born and in the cubicle. They're all in like cubicle incubators, baby incubators, and he just Broly was happened to be next to Kakarot's, and Kakarot wouldn't stop crying, and made that meant that Broly couldn't sleep at night, and that was his main source of hatred for Kakarot or Goku. And then you just see him when in the movie. I remember the original Broly movie when Broly finds Kakarot, he goes ape shit, just because he wouldn't let him sleep when he was a baby. Like, what kind of story is that? So I'm really glad that was completely scrapped and reworked into a new backstory. So his new backstory is far more better than this one, I thought, and I thought as a character, his design was good as well, and he had some interesting depth to his character, unlike his previous dimensional counterpart. So in this one, it's kind of this similar starting point where Broly gets thrown out because his power level is too high. Yeah, that happens in the first one as well. What's it called? What's his name? Paragus, Broly's dad. He obviously follows his son to this uh exile country. No, it's like a really wasteland of a planet, and it's just really barren and stuff, and really hard to live on. So those two end up there, and they just end up stranded, and that's pretty much the backstory this time. That's kind of makes sense, and it kind of fills out the plot holes. I guess it makes sense because they're just stuck on a barren planet in the middle of nowhere, like a distinct, far away, like in a corner of the universe or the galaxy. So they're not really harmed. They're not doing anything. Really low key. That was, so the backstory was all right. And then so what else? And then his what else is his backstory? So that's like the main premise of his backstory. They're just trapped on this desert island, and they want revenge. Well, Paragus wants revenge against King Vegeta, but he's dead as well. Oh, and we actually get canon. We get the first look at the canon version of Goku's mom. There we go. It's happened. And I remember seeing that. I remember seeing her floating around on the internet like a few months back. It was drawn by Toriyama himself, actually. So it was very nice to see her animated for the first time. It was kind of heartwarming. So Goku's mom, and then we also see Bardock as well. I think this might be the first time that yeah, Gine. So this is the first in my memory. This might be the first time that Bardock is also canon as well. So that's pretty crazy. So now he's canon, right? And if you've ever seen the episode of Bardock, it's pretty much the same. What's it called? The same outcome as how it begins, and then we see them interact as well. It was very nice to see Goku's parents interact because before this they weren't even alive and stuff, and they didn't exist pre Dragon Ball anyway. All this stuff is new, so It's pretty nice to see them get a bit of screen time before they get killed eventually, unfortunately. But we also get Nappa get a bit of screen time. That was pretty nice. Nappa, Vegeta, Raditz, they all got the screen time they got as a kid form as well. So we see the way that Frieza destroys the planet, which was the same as the episode of Bardock, and we see Bardock trying to stop him as well. So that was pretty cool. So I'm guessing the part where he travels to the future, that's gonna be BS, because that stuff does not make sense, you know. If you've ever seen an episode of Bardock, you know what I'm talking about. So with the Saiyans gone, we go back to modern day. I quite like that whole what's it called? That whole prerequisite. Very good backstory filling as well. So let's talk about Broly's character traits in this one versus how he was in the old films. So there's a lot of similarities between this Broly and the other Broly. Both Brolys both had they both didn't talk that much, to be honest, and they were both quite yeah, they both didn't talk that much, but there's a quite big difference in their personalities. The original Broly was really shy and timid, you know, like he was really small and frail as well, you know. Jumbo in his base form, he looked I think Vegeta called him a girl or something. He looks like a girl, and he was always shy, and you know he didn't really want to talk, and he always hid behind his dad and stuff. But as soon as he went out of as soon as he went berserk, he was like the alpha male kind of thing. So like I guess in the normal state, these two are very contrasting. Whereas the new Broly, he's kind of got like a new caveman persona type thing going on. So he's like a Tarzan kind of. He's got a Tarzan kind of persona going on right now. It's the part where he sees the chocolate as well, and then the green alien man. She kind of like the Mary. What's this called? It's not. Is it Jane? No, it's not Mary Jane. The Jane of this thing, man. Like Tarzan and Jane, or it can be like the Hulk as well. The Hulk and whoever his lover is. So I see that kind of relationship with that with the Broly and the Green Girl. That was, you know, so it's kind of sweet that he's actually got a new character introduction, some supporting cast for Broly. It's pretty nice. So I would say, yeah, I think I definitely enjoyed this Broly better than the other one. The other one was just like rubbish, like the base one as well. I quite like the whole caveman thing. It's very nice, guerrilla style, very primitive. I like the part where he's eating chocolate as well. And this Broly has more character development as well, and we find out he's like a pure child, like he's a very pure hide, as you can see when they were talking with him. So Broly, he doesn't really like fighting. He only fights because his dad tells him to, and then he has a whole backstory about his what you call it, his fur coat. Let's call it, yeah, his fur waist coat, because he wraps it around his waist. You know, it was his first friend, and his ear got cut off by his dad. So you know, it was a nice little detail they added. You know, it made sense as well because we saw him land. We saw them when they landed on the planet, stepping on the green monster to begin with, and then it turned out it was his first friend. So I now understand why Broly was the legendary Super Saiyan, because in order to be the legendary Super Saiyan, you have to be pure-hearted. I remember something of that sense, and Broly is very pure-hearted and very innocent, as we saw, and the way he eats chocolate as well. So yeah, it's pretty good. But those were the big differences between the two, and then some of the similarities, like Paragus. He's like the exact same character. There's like no change in him. Still the same, you know, old shit, trying to get revenge on Vegeta, and he still controls his son with the device. But at least in this one, the way he died it was actually comedic, like in a sense. Like there wasn't really any emotional what do you call it, supporting for this. Like the way he dies, the theme of it, it was very trivial. It's kind of weird actually. Like there's the way his death was just overplayed. I mean underplayed. Like Frieza remembers the way I remember he has like he has like an idea going on. So it's like he remembers the way he kills Krillin, and then Goku became a Super Saiyan. So what he does, he just like beams Paragus and kills him in like one shot, like not even a struggle to be honest. And then all of a sudden, Like Broly sees that, and then like it was quite clever from Frieza's. His lie was pretty good as well. It's quite believable. It's like a stray beam hit him and killed him. So yeah, Vegeta, I mean Frieza just adding fuel to the fire. That was pretty funny. But yeah, this whole movie was kind of funny as well. Like it was a bit lighthearted. I quite like it. Like the whole reason why Frieza wanted the Dragon Balls was kind of funny as well. I was like, oh my god, he's gonna want something really bad as well, and then it just like he just wanted to be taller as well. You know, I can relate with Frieza. I wouldn't mind being 5 inches tall. I mean, 5 centimeters taller even, mate. Maybe no, I could be 6 foot with the Dragon Balls. And I quite like the comparison in the movie with Bulma and Frieza, like how Bulma wanted to be 5 years younger and Frieza wanted to be what's he called? He wanted to be 5 centimeters taller. So it was a very weird comparison because those two don't really they're not really comparable in much sense, but yeah, but it was funny. It's just kind of funny to compare those two characters. Where that so Frieza's main purpose of being here was it wasn't that malicious, so I guess he was all right. He didn't really attack anyone. He just wanted to see the extent of Broly's power, to be honest. So I guess Frieza wasn't really that bad in this movie or his arc, Broly arc. So normally, because I don't really like Frieza, but I guess he's okay in this one. And he also made up for the time whereas when Goku and Vegeta were practicing their fusion. So let's talk. What else can we talk about? So let's talk about the actual fight. Then there's not much. There wasn't that much story going on. Like after the so told story I mentioned just now, it was literally just a massive brawl for the rest of the rest of the screen time. So like the fight, the way it begins is pretty cool as well, because they both come out and introduce themselves, and those two, like Goku and Vegeta, can feel the difference and feel something special about this dude, how much power that he has and stuff. And then Paragus is like, "Yo, I'm gonna kill Vegeta," and then he realizes how much stronger Vegeta is than him, so he leaves it out. But like, I don't understand how this the Broly mechanic works, because he starts off pretty weak, if you think about it, because starting off, he just gets stronger and stronger as he fights Vegeta, and then Vegeta is like at the first he's completely canes him in his base form, and then Broly starts catching up, starts powering up, and then what happens? And then like Vegeta turns Super Saiyan. Like oh, the way Vegeta turned Super Saiyan was so nice as well. Like the part where Vegeta has like a golden aura around his base form just for a little while, and then a little tease into the Super Saiyan mode, and then the way it turns into Super Saiyan, I was like, yo, that was pretty nice. And then he does the same thing again when he goes red as well, Super Saiyan red. So yeah, it was so weird. Like Broly's power scaling and it doesn't make sense for me. But obviously, I enjoyed the movie. But in terms of logic, I don't agree with Broly's power scaling. Like he gets beaten by Super Saiyan Vegeta for a little bit, and then he beats Super Saiyan Vegeta, and then Vegeta he has to go Super Saiyan God, and at that point he just completely demolishes him. Like Broly, completely demolished Broly. But he just gets stronger, and like this guy is quite durable as well because he doesn't really take that much damage. Like, cause Broly throughout this movie, he takes a real beating. Cause he takes a beating from Vegeta, takes a beating from Goku as well, and he's still like better off than those two. Like, it doesn't make sense. But it I really liked the power difference between Super Saiyan God and Super Saiyan. Like, it was portrayed like but when Vegeta went Super Saiyan, he did have the upper advantage. What's it called? I mean, the advantage against Broly. It was quite obvious. But then, as soon as he's turned Super Saiyan God, the advantage was so much bigger, and he just hit him once, and he went flying through like 7 different mountains. It's crazy. And then I think this is the first time we've seen Vegeta in Super Saiyan God mode, animated, obviously, because he's gone through it in the what do you call it in the manga, which I do read. So it's crazy, to see him. It looks so sexy. Like I think Super Saiyan God actually, like the red one, it looks better than the Super Saiyan Blue, like in terms of aesthetic appeal, because of the whole like what's it called, lean look they have going on, because I've noticed like the design of the Super Saiyan God, it looks really lean and it looks really it reminds me of like kung fu and mystic. I don't know, it just feels very nimble and agile, so I really like it. And plus I prefer the color red to blue as well, and plus like the shading of red they use for it is so nice as well, so I just prefer it. But yeah, I want to know how Vegeta obtained this form, because the way Goku obtained this form was through the five Saiyans gathering around him. So I wonder how Vegeta obtained this form. Did he obtain it the same method, or did he just obtain it through what's it called, training? But it was kind of obvious that Vegeta had this form, because you can't get Super Saiyan God, Super Saiyan Blue without Super Saiyan God base form, which is red. So you can't get red without blue. So it was always known that Vegeta had it, but he just never used it, you know. So it was nice to see it being portrayed in this movie. So yeah, it was quite good. But I reckon in theory could Goku and Vegeta have killed Broly straight away if they went serious from the get go? Would they have beaten him, or would Broly have risen to power really quickly? Or is it because they were just toying around with him too much that he ended up getting stronger than them? That is something to know as well. So I quite like how I quite like the mood of Goku and Vegeta. At first they were just like toying around with Broly, just a bit of sparring, and then they just like, yo, they're all like, yo, this guy's pretty strong. Yeah, and it's like, let's see how strong this guy is. And it's like, yo, he's pretty tough. I like him. And then Goku's like, oh, I want to go as well. And then they're just like, yo, he's pretty strong. and then they go God mode, and they're like, yo, what's going on? Yo, and then I remember the mood completely changes when I think who goes blue first? Yeah, Goku is when he's fighting Goku, and it's that part where he's in Super Saiyan God mode, and he's getting he gets picked up by his leg and slammed against the floor again and again. Yeah, and you can just see the pain in Goku's face. I bet at that point Goku was like, "Yo, I think I need help." At that point, I was like, "Yo, take this seriously, man. Go blue already and beat his ass." But at that point, Brody was so strong that even Vegeta and Goku teaming up in blue could not defeat this monster. That's how bad he was. That's how much of a bad boy he was. But yeah, I quite like Broly's gradual change throughout this throughout the movie. Well, about this episode. So he starts off base and his hair starts flying up, but it doesn't change until right the end. And then that's where Frieza comes along and gives him the Super Saiyan transformation. Do you know I've noticed about Dragon Ball Super? It always has like a homage to the original series throughout this for just throughout they always have references to the original series, and the one at the end I'll talk about that later. But the one I'm going to talk about is the one with the I spoke about earlier, but I didn't mention the homage. So Frieza has a flashback to Namek, right? And he remembers killing Frieza. I mean Krillin. So he does the same thing with Paragress. That was a homage to the way Goku turned Super Saiyan for the first time, with the way Broly turned Super Saiyan. Well, his Super Saiyan is different to everyone else's, but yeah, the way he turned Super Saiyan, that was pretty crazy. And I think at that point Broly snaps and his eyes go backwards and stuff. But this Broly is a bit more primal than the other Broly. This is another difference I've noticed. So Broly in his Super Saiyan, legendary Super Saiyan mode, right? The original Broly, he was actually evil. Like he would laugh at Kakarot like and tease him and stuff, and like, I'm gonna kill you. This one's completely different, because this one's just a berserker kind of type, where he doesn't really talk. He just on a rampage, like no talking. I remember the original Broly was really like, he was really mean and evil. So I guess in the berserk mode, I did prefer the old one, but I also like this new one as well, because I mean the reason why I like the original one, because it feels more like a villain with these smack talk and evil demeanor and stuff. But I like this one because it just fits the character well, like, and the whole I guess it just fits the character well. That's all I can say. But and then yeah, I quite like to see the Goku and Vegeta tag team as well. So I quite enjoyed the artistic vision going on in this fight as well. Like I don't know. Speaking of artistic vision, let's just talk about the animation and artwork throughout the whole movie, right? So I really appreciate the studio who did this. I think you might like the people who did the movie. I really appreciate the lens they went for this movie and the vision that they had for this movie. It was absolutely crazy. So first of all, like they paid homage to the original art style as well. It looked hand drawn, like it gave like when I was watching the movie, at times it reminded me of the old Dragon Ball, like the original like Dragon Ball Z. Like it was drawn exactly like that, and it just felt so good having that nostalgic vibe on it. And then as we got into the fighting, they changed it up quite a bit, to be honest. So they had the original, obviously the hand drawn. I think it's hand drawn, but I'm just gonna call it the hand drawn art. They had it during the fight scenes, but they also see it like it wasn't seamless. I was gonna say seamless, but it's not seamless at all. They also implemented CGI into it, and I thought the way they used CGI was actually quite good actually, because normally CGI in anime is just a no for me. An example of that would be Berserk. That's an infamous example that I've used there. But CGI does not work in like it just doesn't work in anime. But the way they used it here, it was just an acceptable amount. Like sometimes I feel like too much CGI is bad, but just a little bit it was all right. Because the reason why I found it quite effective in this show is because the way the way they transitioned it. What I'm trying to say is like just during some fight scenes, they added CGI to make it look nice, and it changed it up. Like, cause having a fight this long, like half of the film is the fight. So if it was just in one animation, they gotta like spice it up a little bit. So the way the different techniques they did was like they changed up the animation style completely. So I really enjoyed that. Having some fights in 2D and some fights in 3D. It really like put some flavor into the fight and the battle. So that's what I did quite enjoy that. And then let's talk about the artistic oh my god, artistic vision in this show, man. Jeez. It's crazy what they did because they really put some thought into this. At one point my favorite artistic vision they had, right? The standout one was where when during the fight, I think it was during the fight with Goku. I really like it when we had the first person view of Broly when he's fighting Goku. That was ridiculous. That was so creative and stuff. It just made me feel like wow, such a new perspective on the genre. Because we've seen so many Dragon Ball fights, but I've never seen a Dragon Ball fight like that. And the part where like we see Goku doing a Kamehameha against us, because we've seen Goku do Kamehameha like multiple times, but we've never seen him do one at us. That was crazy. That was dope. And then the another vision I quite liked was when when what's it called Gogeta versus Broly, where they just enter a dimension randomly. I thought that was done so well as well. Like the part where they clash and they enter and the glass breaks and we're in a different dimension. Oh, that was crazy. And I quite like the part where Broly puts Gogeta against the edge of the dimension and you can see him being pressed against the edge and then it cracks again. Oh, I thought that was amazing. That was quite creative in my opinion. And then I could definitely see the director was letting his creative juices flow loose, which I quite applaud him for that because it added more flavor to the show. This show had this battle had so much flavor that it was starting to get a bit spicy even for me, and I think I can handle a decent amount of spice. So that was crazy to see that stuff. Oh my goodness! And like I think the fight had a satisfying end because Gogeta and Vegito are known as the god. They're like the god tier of the thingy, of the Dragon Ball fandom, right? Because every time they come, they're so strong and stuff. Like they can't be beat. I mean, they can be beat by if you go back to Zamos, you won't get. But I found this situation where they transformed very good as well. I mean, very satisfying. Let's talk about the homage again they pay. to the, do you know when they did the failed transformation, the fat and the skinny one? That was a homage to the Dragon Ball Z Majin Buu arc, where Kid Trunks and Gotenks, they messed up exactly in the same sequence, and they did the exact same things. So that was a homage to them. That was pretty nice to, to represent the little boys. And then the fusion, Gogeta, and it's now been confirmed that Gogeta is actually not just the two of them strength combined, like put together. It's literally their strengths multiplied. It was it was actually explained in that as well, so that was pretty nice to have a little information on that. And like the reason why this fusion was satisfying, because every time these two have fused, what really frustrates me is like, do you know the way the plot is made? They always unfuse at the end, like just before they beat them. It's happened so many times. Actually, no, it's happened nearly every time. So if we talk about let's talk about the first time they fused. So the first time they went Gogeta, they completely beat Majin Buu, right? And then they were completely dancing on them. And then the only reason why Majin Buu was spared because he had absorbed everyone, so they had to like, they couldn't kill him pretty much, Vegito. And then at that point, he was meant to have an unlimited time limit, but then it turns out he did have a time limit. That's why they split in the first place, which was further explained in Super. And people assumed that people assumed, including me, that Majin Buu's digestive system like split them together, like split them up. But it turned out it was the Potoro earring had the time limit. And then let me think of it next time actually. So another time I can think about is the Gogeta again in the Janempa movie. Actually, that was really satisfying because he actually beat him before it split. But I'm trying to give you an example of what, like, it's just annoying when they split just before they win it. Another example is not them, but it's their sons. When Gotenks versus Boo, like Gotenks was winning, but then he split because they ran out of time. And then let's think about another example. Okay, so in Dragon Ball Super, right? Vegito, he's doing pretty well against Zamasu, but then he splits again. It's always that time limit, always messing them up. Always messes them up. And then obviously GT's not canon anymore, but that one had like one of the worst. That one had like one of the most annoying ones as well. It was Super Saiyan 4 Gogeta versus Omega Shenron, and then Omega Shenron gets hit with one. He gets hit with a Big Bang Kamehameha times 10 once, and he gets stripped of his other Dragon Balls, and it's one shot, and they're literally about to do another Big Bang Kamehameha, and then they split. It was so frustrating. That's why I thought this one was really satisfying because they didn't split during halfway through the fight like they normally do with Goku having to finish him off. This was really nice because they managed to finish him off in Gogeta form, and they had time to spare as well. They even stopped Frieza destroying the ship. All right, but let's talk about Gogeta though. Yo, Gogeta, this Gogeta put up a fight, man. He put up a warrior's fight. But then it just goes to show how strong Broly became because Gogeta and Broly were going head to head. But obviously Gogeta did have the thingy. He obviously had the upper hand. You could see throughout the fight he was just getting beat. I think Broly was at his limit, to be honest. That was his limit closing in, and then Gogeta still had strength to beat. It was mad, and I really like the finesse and style that Gogeta brought with his flips and stuff. Like this movement was so like, he had a lot of swagger to his movements, which I did enjoy. It was a spectacle to watch, I must say. And then the finishing, obviously, the old Kamehameha. I would have enjoyed what was his finisher called? The sparkle. I quite enjoyed the sparkle thing he has going from Gogeta. What's his finishing move? And I quite like the little comedy at the beginning where he names himself. Gives us a little uh, preposition. What's the word? Gives us a little information on how on the origins of Gogeta's name as well. So that was pretty nice as well. It was a bit comedic, but I can't believe Piccolo got screen time. my boy Piccolo getting screen time. Like not even Gohan got screen time, and Gohan's pretty strong as well. And then what else happened in the film? So oh yeah, Gogeta versus Broly was definitely satisfying because we saw that Broly was actually about to get killed by Gogeta Kamehameha, and then the green girl saved him as well. And then can we just talk about this green girl real quick? Like, what, why was she trying to give us fan service? I did not enjoy that, and that was something I did not enjoy. There was a part where she's just like bent over, and it's just like a focus. It's got like a booty shot of this like green alien. I did not want to see that at all. That was not part of my experience. I did not pay for that experience. But yeah, apart that's one of the qualms I had with the show. I mean, the movie, and then the I would say another qualm, but it could also be a pro, was the amount of shouting throughout the fight. Like legit, most of the dialogue in this fight was just screaming like ah ah. I guess for me, I can see why the screaming would put some people off watching the fight and stuff. But for me, I thought it was it didn't really bother me, to be honest, the screaming. But I wouldn't be surprised if it did bother other people. But Sean Shamil, he really put on a good performance. So did Vic Momonga, I think, the Broly's voice actor. Oh, that's the one, Stardust Breaker, in it. It's the one. It's like the sparkle one that used to destroy Janempa. It completely obliterated him. It would have been crazy. I guess the reason why they didn't obliterate Broly is because it turns out he needs to survive. But I reckon it would have been sick to see Broly just get obliterated by that. Yeah. And then so obviously I watched the movie in dub. So the reason why many Dragon Ball Z fans prefer the dub is mainly be due to Goku's voice, I would say. Because Goku's voice actually sounds quite masculine, and he's quite a macho dude, so most people are off put by the really squeaky voice Goku, voiced by the the Japanese voice actor, who's like a 50-year-old woman. So they don't probably enjoy that. But obviously, after watching a lot of sub, I'm quite used to his voice being like that, so I don't really mind. So I found the conclusion to this movie quite good as well, because it turns out Broly turns out to be a friend, I guess, a friend. And then I quite like how right at the end of the movie, Goku goes to the planet and he puts he gives him a few food, free food and stuff, and then Broly and Goku are now on good terms as well. So because we see Broly smiling as well at the end, that was pretty sweet, because if you think about how the original Broly and Kakarot, how their story ended, it's quite different to how this one ended. Really, it's crazy to think that. Yeah, I quite enjoyed that. But like the original Broly wasn't as strong as this, because the original Broly was only like stronger than Super Saiyan, but weaker than Super Saiyan 2, because Gohan completely dusts him anyway. But damn, I can't believe the ending was. I thought it was really good. I can't wait to see what Broly brings to this story. If he has any pivotal roles anyway. I'm currently reading the manga, so that means because I'm reading the manga, there could be a chance that Broly comes back. That would be nice to see him get some new cat development. Hopefully, he can talk a bit more as well in this one. And yeah, what else is there? Oh, and the reference that Goku makes to Broly at the end was pretty funny as well. Because obviously, I thought it was a kind of a dig at the original Broly. It's the part where Goku says, "Oh, you can call me Kakarot." It was a bit of comedic value. I chuckled in the cinema. I think I was the only dude who chuckled though, because I think I was the only dude who understood what that meant. It's because I think, in my opinion, it was because in the original film, like in this one, Brody just screams, right? But in the original one, he used to scream Kakarot all the time, and he never called him Goku once. Like he always referred to him as Kakarot. So I guess it's kind of a homage again, but a kind of a dig to the original movie. But you know what's crazy? they actually use like the original voice actors. I can't believe these guys have been in the game so long as well. They have the same voice actor for the Broly as well. Vic Momo. I can't say his name at all, but like, yeah, it was pretty nice to see him play the same actor. But yeah, that was pretty much the movie. Uh, So let's get to conclusion. So if you enjoy fighting sequences, a lot of action, this one's definitely for you. But if you're more of a story driven, if you're hoping for like a really story driven story, then this ain't for you because or just watch the first half and then just skip to the end because there's no story involved. This is just pure action. This was made for the. This is mindless action made for the. This just appeals to the male fantasy. I don't want to be sexist, but it just does. The male shonen fantasy. Basically, this is the most shonen you can get. Like this is the ultimate shonen junkie show right now. Like this movie is made for the shonen junkies such as myself. I do enjoy fight sequences like this. It was done very well. I would say this has to be the best Dragon Ball Z movie I've ever seen, and I've seen. I won't even lie, I've not seen all of them, but I've seen the ones that everyone talks about, and this is far by. This far surpasses all of the movies. But to be fair, the last three, like it just hit it out of the park. I can understand why they've been trying to push Dragon Ball Z more. Because I remember when Voice Dragon Battle of Gods came out, and then basically after I watched Dragon Ball Battle of the Gods, that became my best Dragon Ball Z movie. And then I watched Revival of Earth. I thought it was pretty good, but it wasn't as good as Battle of Gods. And now this Broly movie, this is far better than Battle of Gods. Like in my opinion, like the vision was just there. It was just the fight scene was on point. Storytelling was good as well. It was all fresh. It was all new content. Oh my goodness, very good stuff. Oh, let's talk real quick about Brody trying on with Whis. Like, yeah, yeah, my man did not want to get eliminated. Like, my man really did not care about his life because Whis would have just decimated Broly in one shot. Like Whis was just trying to be a good Samaritan because he's obviously quite neutral. But if Whis was serious, like Broly would not stand a chance against him. It was quite interesting as well, actually, that they say that Broly was stronger than Beerus. Well, I don't know if that's confirmed or not, but he so a statement was said by Goku or someone about that exact power level as well. So I would like to see them fight as well. Oh, I want to know, is Gogeta stronger than Beerus? Like, would Gogeta actually beat Beerus or not? Because Beerus, like, he just seemed to be like the gap between him and Goku and Vegeta is still quite big. So I want to see how much a fusion closes the gap between them two. But yeah, I would give this movie definitely like obviously not in terms of real movie standards, but in terms of anime movie standards, like because obviously anime movie standards are a bit different. But in my eyes, and anime movie standards, I'd give this a 9 or a 10 out of 10. Man, for me, it just everything was there, like everything you expect from a Dragon Ball show. Just the action, it just was there. But yeah, this was my review of the Dragon Ball Super movie. If you haven't seen it yet, go watch it. Yes, very good. Best £10 I spent.